They couldn't even eat. Ibrahim was born in a time when no one worshipped Allah, rather they worshipped idols. These idols were made of wood and stone, some of them worshipped the sun, the moon and the stars, while others even worshipped their kings. These idols were of different sizes, some in the homes, some that they carried about with them, and a place of worship made for their main idols. The father of Ibrahim was an idol maker who made and sold them to his people. And in such a time where idol worship was the norm, Ibrahim chose not only to turn away from his people and their idols to Allah alone who created the heavens and the earth, but to call his people to do likewise. He would say to them, "How are you devoted to these idols who cannot eat, drink or even talk? Do you not see that they neither harm nor benefit you?" They told him that they know, but they found their fathers doing the same, to which he informed them that they and their fathers were in error, that they should leave the idols and worship Allah alone and fear Him, that the idols are invented until no authority from Allah. That Allah alone was the one who feeds and provides drink, who heals the sick, who will bring death to us and resurrect us, so they should seek His forgiveness and worship Him alone. But no one listened to him. He called his father, asking him why he worshipped what cannot hear, see or benefit him. He told him that he had knowledge about Allah so he should follow him and he will guide him. He told him not to worship Shaitan who is an enemy to Allah, and he informed him about the punishment of Allah, but it only upset his father, and he refused to listen to Ibrahim. Ibrahim wanted to show his people the futility of their ways, so on a festive occasion of theirs, he feigned sickness and remained when they all left to celebrate. Then he went to their idols and broke all of them to pieces, leaving only the biggest one. When they returned, they were shocked to find what had happened to the idols. They found out that it was Ibrahim and they summoned him. When asked, he told them that it was the big idol that did it, and they should ask him. They were stunned by his response. Then they said that he knows that the idols cannot speak, and that was what he wanted them to realize. He told them that they worship what they carve with their own hands, while Allah created them and what they make. He told them to worship Allah and fear Him, and that is better for them. The idols that they worship are falsehood which they have invented. That the idols they worship beside Allah have no power to provide for them, so they should seek their provisions from Allah and be grateful to Him, and that they were going to return to Him. His people caught him and sought to harm him. They gathered woods for days, kindling a huge fire. They advised one another to help their gods by burning him. The fire was so hot that no bird flew over it except that the heat killed it. They tied him up and put him in a catapult, when they flung him into the fire. Allah commanded the fire to be coolness and safety for Ibrahim. After the fire had finally died, his people were shocked to see Ibrahim coming out of the fire unharmed. Nothing burned from him except the rope with which they tied him up. Ibrahim said to his people, "You have taken for worship idols instead of Allah, and the love between you is only in the life of this world, but on the day of resurrection, you shall disown each other, and curse each other, and your abode will be the fire, and you shall have no helper. O my people, I am indeed free from all that you join as partners in worship with Allah. Verily, I have turned my face towards Him who has created the heavens and the earth." And with that he left his people. There are a couple of things to notice in the story. First is the flawed concept of the lordship of Allah in Ibrahim's people, which allowed them to take others as gods besides Allah. Also, Ibrahim informs his father about knowledge he is ignorant of, and if the father follows him, Ibrahim will guide him. Second is their following of the crowd, blindly if I may add. Even when they knew the idols were not benefiting them, they worshipped them because they found their fathers doing so, and that is what they were grooming their children upon also. Third, the knowledge of the lordship of Allah made Ibrahim different from his people and not follow them blindly but rather go against them. It led him to worship Allah alone and not to associate any partners with Him. And he was calling his people to do likewise. Fourth, of the things Ibrahim got for his standing firm in worshipping Allah alone and not associating partners with Him, Allah made him the father of prophets, an imam to the followed, made his name mentioned after thousands of years, took him as a friend, raised his rank, and called his religion the way of Ibrahim. These are achievements people with all their riches, wealth and qualifications never attain. Finally, and the part usually ignored, Ibrahim was alluding to the fact that his people for their taking idols as gods besides Allah were going to be destroyed. Their king Nimrod, who was also worshipped, was killed by a mosquito. And Allah said about them, "And they wanted to harm him, but we made them the worst losers." So is it the idols or the flawed concept that leads to their destruction. It goes hand in hand. You're more likely to worship idols even if ignorant of it, if you do not understand that Allah is the one true Lord who has authority and control over everything and that everything is ultimately from Him. So perhaps one might ask, why was the concept not flawed in Ibrahim when he was born and brought up in a place where everyone thought otherwise? How did the people come to think wrongly about Allah in the first place? And why did they take idols as gods, even when they knew the idols could neither hear nor speak, let alone eat? To understand these, we need to look back in time, before man was even created.